Hello, I'm very happy because we've just reached the moment when we can start talking about arrays and then about the loops, because this is a really important context of programming and building some games. So I'm really happy about that, and as you can see, I already created some empty object and a new script, so you can do the same thing and attach script to your game object, and after it just open it. Let me tell you what arrays are. Arrays are collections of some variables of the same type that can be held together in one place. Let's imagine if we have a classroom full of some students and you want to gather their all names. So you would have to create like 30, for example, different variables of name student 1, student 2, student 3, and so on, and then assign their name to those variables. And after that, if you wanted to print them out, you would have to print student 1 and then print student 2, 3, and so on. That would be a nightmare. Or even after that, you would have to sort them alphabetically or something. That would be even bigger nightmare. So that's why whenever we want to use some collection or some elements of the same type, we are going to use arrays so that we can hold those objects or elements, as we call them, in one place and do some operations easily on them. Okay, so let's get into it. How do we declare an array? The same way as we do with the variable, just there is one thing that specifies the array. This is a square bracket. So let's start with the type of this array, which will be string, because we are going to hold some names in it. And then after the type, we are adding the square brackets and adding a name. So we are going to make an array of students. So just call it students. We use the plural name because usually array holds multiple elements in it. So once it's declared, we can just put a semicolon at the end. And now in our start method, we can just add some elements to it. So just call it by name, students, and now assign. Because the array is an object, we have to initialize it. To initialize it, we're just using a new keyword and repeat the type, which is string, and add square brackets. So we have several ways of filling array with some elements, and I will show you the first one, and later on we'll learn with other ways. But this way we'll just add elements to this array straight away. So just open the curly brackets, and inside those curly brackets just add some names to it. So I will start with Jane, then maybe I'll put the Bob, maybe Jane, Chris, maybe Alex. We have two Janes, so let's make it a Jack, and maybe one more, which might be Danielle. And as you can see, we have a red squiggly lines, so we have to add a semicolon at the end. So our array is done. We have 6 elements in it. When we work with array, we have to use indexes. What indexes are? This is like a number that identifies each of those elements. And indexing in programming starts with 0. So this is a bit hard for the beginners, because the first element has index of 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if we wanted to print the 4th element, which is Chris, we would have to use index 3. So let's have a look how to print the Chris out in the console. So just go below, use print statement, and just use the name of the array, as we always do. Whatever we want to reference, we use its name. So students, and now we use the square brackets, and now we have to use an index of that element that we want to print out, or do whatever we want with it. And Chris is on the index number 3. So just put 3 in it and go to Unity, open the console and start the game. And as you can see, we've got Chris printed in the console. So what if we wanted to print Alex? We would have to use an index of 4 and so on. Now I will show you the other way on how to create the array. So let's go below and I will create an array of type integer. So let's put int, then square brackets and give it a name. This will be an array of lucky numbers. So let's call it lucky numbers and we can initialize it straight away. So just say new int and we'll do it in other way. So we'll put some semicolon at the end straight away and we need to specify how many elements there's going to be in that array and we'll put 6 numbers in that array. So now in order to add those numbers we have to use those indexes that we talked about. So first we need to call it by name, open the square brackets and use the first index and now assign some value to it. Let's say my first lucky number is 12. Let's copy it 6 times so it's easier and quicker. Then we'll just assign some random values to this array like so, and of course we have to change index numbers so that they are different. Of course, if we didn't change those index numbers, then if we left 0 in here, then 12 would be assigned to the first element and after that 16 would be assigned to the first element. So this 12 would not be present anymore. So once we have it, we can print, for example, I don't know, the 5th element of it, the same way we did it before. So print, and now we're just calling it by the name, so lucky numbers, and inside the square bracket, we're just adding an index number. So just save it, go back to Unity and press play. And here we have it, it's 24, and this is 24. So why would we use array? We would use it because we can easily get, for example, the maximum value of all the numbers we hold in our array. And how to do it? We can just print and use a system to get into some nice methods and properties that array contains of. So put a system to get into it. Now we'll just use array, and after the dot we can find some options we might choose from. And as you can see, we can, for example, sort it. So let's use a sort, and then inside the parentheses we can choose which array is to be sorted. If we want to sort our string array alphabetically, we can just use students. If we want to sort our lucky numbers from the lower value to the max value, we can use lucky numbers. So let's use lucky numbers now, and it will be sorted from the lowest value to the highest value. And once it's sorted, we will use this last element as well, because last element will be of the highest value. So just copy it and paste it below, because as you remember, the code is being read and executed from the top to the bottom. So first we sort it and then we will print it. So let's go to Unity, and we have to fix some error. The error is on the line 28, so let's double click on it and see what was wrong. We can't print them because we are sorting them, so that was a mistake. Okay, let's go back to the Unity, clear all errors and play it. So as you can see, the highest value is 56. And let's have a look if it's really the case, and yes, it is. So if we wanted to print the lowest value, that would be the first element. In the next lesson, we will use some for each loop to get them all printed out and do some more fancy stuff with them.